Leanne and Adelaide, welcome back. This is the kitchen window behind our cooktop. We're growing some hibiscus. You can see a bit of reflection coming off there, but you can see that there's a few flowers and a few buds. But we'd like to get more flowers, so just giving them a little bit of fertiliser, liquid fertiliser, a couple of weeks ago, and now going to give them a boost with some liquid potash. View of the hibiscus from outside. So you can see that these leaves are a little bit on the yellow side, so indicating they need a bit more nitrogen. So that's been done. These two up here are greener. They were slightly older than the other ones. I think they're just a bit more resilient. So you can see quite a different colour in those. Leaves just have a darker colour. You can see these side by side. That one there versus that one. So these will get, the yellowy ones will get a little bit of a boost with some extra nitrogen fertiliser as well that we gave them a few weeks ago, but not a huge amount of buds, as you can see, not a lot. So I'm definitely looking to really boost that. So moving over here, just going to show you the potash that's being used. And zoom in there. So it's liquid potash and high potassium to improve flower size, colour and quantity, and it also helps with the taste of fruits and vegetables. And you can see the amounts up there. You've got P, which is for phosphorus, and it's 2.0, and K, which is for potassium, and that's 14.0. So a little bit of phosphorus, but not much. It's mainly potassium. And then you've got all the directions on the back there, but you basically mix it in with a watering can, one full cap into like a 10 litre watering can. Mine's 9, so I just put a little bit under a cap and water it in, and that's going into the self-watering pots. And they'll just take up what they need. As the weather gets cooler, they take up less and less. That's the in there. So you just pour it in the top there, and the plants take up what they need. It's now 8 weeks later since the fertiliser has taken effect, and the potash, excuse my voice, I've got a bit of a cold. Now I think the leaves here have greened up a little bit. Now bear in mind that they do go a little bit on the yellow side with the cold weather, and the weather has got a lot colder since last filming. We had really mild weather before, now we've had some really cold days. So you can see there's still a difference there between that colour and this other two plants up further, which are darker green. But there I can see an improvement in the other ones that don't look anywhere near as yellow. Okay, so that's sort of yellow around the edges. That's more what they do when they get cold. So today's maximum is only going to be 13. It's probably going to be about 10 degrees all day Celsius. And you know, overnight it's been a lot cooler than that, down to 5 degrees or so. So you know, something that hibiscus really don't like very much. So just showing you how we've got some good sized buds. I think the potash is really kicking along. Now in this weather, you know, if anything, the flowering would have pretty much have stopped or slowed down very significantly. I didn't want to apply the potash in when the weather was warming up, because that wouldn't necessarily prove anything whether the potash really made that much difference, because of course, you know, hibiscus are going to pump out more flowers when the weather's warming up. But it's quite a lot colder. We were having temperatures back when I last filmed around that time. They were consistently in the low 20s, and now we're talking about consistently around 15 degrees or lower. 15 to 17 say, and lower. So a few more buds there, but good sized buds and some fairly good sized flowers considering the time of the year. And this one here is a fairly good size. Yeah, very rich colour as well. That's the other thing I noticed. Not sure if that's, you know, like a particular effect that you are meant to get from potash, but the flowers seem to have a richer colour. They were certainly always that bright colour, orange, but this is almost a red orange. So that's something that I wasn't expecting. I'll just go around over here. Some of the colouring, the mottleness, I don't know if that's a term, mottleness, but that, you know, that stuff there, that probably is almost overpowered by the other colouring. So whether that's an effect of the potash or just this time of the year because it's colder, that's what the flowers do. You can see that's got a bit more marking in there. And the other thing, and I don't know if this is just me imagining it, but these stamens seem to be slightly longer as well. So especially on the larger flowers. Alright, so very unscientific, but I think that has definitely made a difference. And you can still see more buds coming on, and it really is quite cold, so I'm very surprised to see, I'll just zoom in closer there, see that many buds coming on. Right, so my suggestion, I'm just going to walk around to the back and change scenery. I think we've had enough of looking at hibiscus for a while. And you can have a quick look at how my garden's looking in winter, which is not that flash. So anyhow, my recommendation to anyone growing hibiscus, so if you want a really good flush of flowers, you got to allow, this taking 8 weeks to get that, but you can see with warmer weather the effects could be quite astounding. So depending on your climate conditions, then you just work backwards from when you know that you have your first reasonably good flush of flowers, and then 8 weeks prior to that, that's when you want to provide the hit of potash. And in the liquid form it probably works even faster, but I'm sure the powdered forms would work fine. Here's another hibiscus. I thought I'd end off with showing you the hibiscus that I've got in the gun here. Now these flowers, they haven't received any help at all. They're looking quite scrawny compared to how they looked earlier in the year. Now what I've done with these, I've just stepped back a little bit, and I've got a few cannas in the way, but if I'll just pull those back, you can see that I've created like a little bit crooked, but basically a reasonably straight stem, and I've stripped the leaves off, so eventually I'll, when it gets really a lot taller, I'll then tip off the top leaves and allow it to ball out a little bit. And this one's on the other side, a little bit shorter, but not much difference in height, as you can see. So, and again, a lot of insect damage early on, so I never got the growing head got pinched out by insects, so I never had the opportunity to grow it as straight, completely straight. Well, that's not too bad. So eventually they'll get quite tall, and they'll be from roughly around here upwards. I'm guessing that the stem will be bare down the track, and a little sort of ball, loose ball of flowers. And the reason why I chose that colour, because if you've seen in my earlier videos, especially I had one earlier about colour combinations in the garden with cannas. I've got a lot of hot colours in the garden, and I thought this was a nice soft colour. I didn't want to go for white, I thought that might be too much of a contrast, so I thought just go for something pastel-y. And it does look whitish in the evening, and in the when the weather's hotter, it tends to come out a bit whiter. It goes more pink as the weather cools down. So I thought that was a good way of just adding different dimensions to one part of the garden. And it's a complete experiment. I don't know how tall these will grow. My concern is that these tiger grass aren't, and we live in Adelaide, so we're never going to get anywhere near the height that would go in Queensland. But I would like to, you can probably just see those little flower heads poking out through there. I'd like the hibiscus to grow well above the sort of top canopy, if you want to call it, of the tiger grass there, and on either side. So they'll show above that. But time will tell as to whether that will happen. But who cares anyhow? Still have something to look at, and I'll be able to see it from other angles, like if we're sitting out here having something to eat or drink here in the alfresco area. I'm sure we'll be able to see it through that gap through there. You can see those two flowers in there. If I just zoom in a bit, that's probably closer to what we are viewing, eye to eye. Yeah. Right, so that's all from me, and hoping my croaky voice goes away soon. Stay tuned for more updates. A few of the garden projects, just doing a really quick update of some of the plants that were planted previously. And check out my really short video of a lovely garden in Palm Cove, a front garden. Just barely over a minute, but such a beautiful little garden. I couldn't resist putting that on there. I thought it was too short, but no, I thought, well, why not? So it's goodbye from me, and see you again soon. Bye.